Hey there, what's going on? Basir here, back again with another new video. And in this video, we are going to create a full screen React Native slider or swiper from scratch. So this is what you'll be building throughout this entire video. As you can see, there's this cool animation for this image, and then down below right here, a smooth animation for these dots or the pagination of this slider. Alright, so without any further ado, let's dive right into it and translate this to code. Alright, so this video is sponsored by ZegoCloud. ZegoCloud is a global cloud communication service provider that allows the developer and enterprises to embed and implement voice call, video call, live streaming, and in-app chat experiences within their applications. And in addition to that, it also provides a rich set of add-ons like Avatar to create your own virtual avatar, and even use it in Metaverse, AI effects, whiteboard, cloud recording. And it has customers and clients over 212 countries and territories with 3 billion plus daily call minutes that are using it for social, education, shopping, collaboration, and many more. And here, as you can see, I've already opened the GitHub repository of ZegoCloud, and it provides easy to integrate SDKs for over 18 plus programming languages and frameworks like Flutter, iOS and Android, React Native, and web applications. And here I've created a React Native application and used the communication API of ZegoCloud. All I had to do was to create my own ZegoCloud account, go to the console, create the project, and follow the comprehensive guideline and documentation stated in here. So start your free trial right now with 10,000 minutes free every month. Alright, so I've already created the template for this project using npx react native init command, and then I placed the source directory right here wherein I place all the assets for this project, and also a data wherein I place this index.js, which is an array of objects, and each of these objects holds data concerning the detail of each slide like the image, title, description, and the price. Alright, so let's run this in the simulator. So right here I'll do yarn start, and then followed by that yarn iOS. Alright, let's also place it right here. Okay, so this is the basic template we get, and now I'm gonna go to the app.js. Let's close this and then replace all of this with this boilerplate right here, and then I'm gonna just wrap all of these within this safe area view from React Native. So you can see the text app right there. There we go. And now let's create the slider. So in order to create that slider, I'm going to create a folder within the source directory and call that as component, save it, and then within the component, I'm going to create a new file, call that as slider.js. Alright, and again, there's this slider boilerplate right here. In the app.js, let's import that slider. There we go, save it, and now you can see that the app text is now replaced with slider. So I'm going to close this and start creating the slider. So in order to create this slider, first of all, I'm going to import the slides data here from the data directory, and then down below right here, in order to create this slider, I'm going to use flat list. Alright, so it's going to take the data wherein I'm going to fit it with slides right here, and then right here we're going to add this render item, and then this is going to be a function, destructor the item, and then it's going to return this slide item right here. Okay, so now we are getting an error because we haven't yet created this slide item. So in here, let's create this slide item.js. Again, there it is, and then right here we need to import it. There we go, and now you can see that corresponding to the number of slide, we are getting this slide item text right here. And now within this slide item, I'm going to pass a prop of the item as well. And then within this slide item, let's destructure that. Here we go. And then start creating these slide items individually. So first of all, let's import the image from React Native with the source of item.image. And then, alright, and then we're going to specify the resize mode for this to be contain, and also in a style of styles.image. Alright, so now let's place the title, description, and the price right here within this text, and style is styles.title, and then here I'm gonna place this item.title. save it, and now let's duplicate it down below here and replace the title with the description. And this is going to be for the price. Alright, so now you can see that we just created all of these, and now we need to style this a little bit. This is going to be styles.content here, and then overall for this I'm gonna call this styles.container. Alright, we also need to import the dimension as well, so that we get the width and the height of the device. There we go. This get the width and the height of the device using dimensions dot get the screen. Alright, you can pass in here the window as well. Alright, now in the styles right here, let's start from the container all the way down to the price. So for the container, first of all, I'm gonna add that width that we just calculated. So there's the width and the height, and this is gonna be the width and the height of the device. And then followed by that, I'm gonna place in this align items of center here. And then for the image, I'm gonna specify a width of 100%. Alright, and also let's add a flex of 0.6, so it just takes 60%. And then followed by that, there's going to be this content. Well, I'm going to add this align items of center. There it is. And then for the title, I'm going to add a font size of, let's go with 24, and then a font weight of bold. Then let's also change the color of this to be slightly dark, like so. All right, and then now I also think that we need to specify the content a flex of 0.4 as well, so that it takes 40% of the screen. This one is 60% of the screen, so as a whole we have that 100%. All right, and then for the description, let's add some styles. This is going to be a little bit the same as above, with a little bit difference of margin vertical like 12, so there's a little bit of space between each of these text right here. And then again, let's add the color, the same dark color. All right, and then for the price, I'm gonna bump this up to 32 and then make it to be bold. All right, and for the color of that is gonna be black anyway. Alright, so now we have created all of these slides, and then back into the slider I'm gonna make it horizontal. So let's just pass in that horizontal there, and now this is a horizontal slide. And also enable the snapping effect for this as well, paging enabled, and then snap to alignment and set this to be center. Alright, so now you can see that it snaps very nice between each of these slides. Alright, so now let's also get rid of this horizontal scroll bar as well. So let's set this to be false, and there we go. Then create the pagination component here, pagination.js, and again this simple boilerplate, and within the slider right here I'm gonna import the pagination. There we go, and then back into pagination right here I have to create these dots corresponding to each of these slides. You can barely see that text of pagination there, but first of all, in order to specify the number of dots, I'm going to use the help of these slides here and pass that as data within this pagination. Then in the pagination, I'm going to get that as prop. Here we go, the data, and then let's loop through each of those individually. There is the map, and then get the index, and finally we're going to return a view. And this view is going to have in style styles dot dot. There we go, save it. And then down below right here, okay, we are getting an error. We need to also specify the key for this as well. So in this case, this is going to be this index. All right, and then down below right here, I need to style the dot and add a width for this of like 12 and a height of 12. Then also a border radius to make it rounded. So in this case 6, and a background color of CCC. There we go. All right, so I cannot see that, probably is hidden somewhere here, but first I need to style this container. So styles.container, and then down below right here, let's get that container, and let's add a position of absolute for this here. There we go, and then from the bottom it's going to be 50. Save it. Well, there it is right here. and then need to specify a flex direction of row, because in React Native that is default to column, and also a margin horizontal of 3. Save it, and there's that space right there. Also let's specify a width like 100%, and then align items to be in the center, justify content to the center as well, so we have everything in the center. There we go. And now you can see that these slides are in the center. We just need to actually decrease this to 40, or let's go with 35. Alright, so now let's create that cool animation for these dots or pagination. So for that purpose I need to use the help of scroll X, which means that how far this slider is scrolled horizontally. Alright, so in order to create and calculate that how far the slider is scrolled horizontally, I'm going to use this onScroll function here, and then call this handle onScroll. There we go, and right at the very top right here I'm going to create this function. It's going to get this event right here, and then I'm going to call this animated.event. Let's now comment this. Actually, first we need to create that scroll X here, so const of scroll X, and set it to useRef, and new animated dot value, and set it to be 0, and then dot current. Save it. Alright, so this is scroll X. We're going to use this useRef so we don't see the re-rendering of the component, and then dot current because this useRef returns an object with the current key right there. And then we're going to use this animated dot value of 0 in here, so this is an animated value. And the reason for why we are using animated.event is that we are using animated.event in order to map this animated value of the scroll X with this onScroll. Alright, and then right here this is going to take an array and array of nested objects in here. In this case there's going to be this native event, and then followed by that content offset, then X, and then map it to scroll X. Alright, and then right here we also need to specify to use native driver and set this to false, because we are going to be animating the width and the height and also the background color. In that case the native driver does not support that, so that's why we are setting this to false, so it runs in the JS thread and not in the UI thread. Alright, and then right here I'm going to pass in this event right here, and then let's add a little bit of space between those. And now you cannot basically say how far this is scrolled, but let's just make sure that I made no mistake. Here is the native event, content offset. Alright, so it looks good to me right now. And now I need to pass in this scroll X from here into the pagination. There we go. And then as I told you earlier that in order to create that animation we're going to make use of this scroll X, which is going to calculate how far we scroll the slider horizontally. So back in here I'm going to get that scroll X, and then I'm going to import animated library, and then down below right here we are going to animate this view, so I'm going to add this animated dot in here as well. And now in order to create that smooth animation I'm going to make use of the interpolate. So this is going to be animation for the dot width in this case, and then right here I'm going to say scroll X dot interpolate, interpolate, and then this is taking an object with the input range and the output range. Alright, so what is the input range and the output range? So basically you're using this interpolate in order to map the input range with the output range, and this is how you can create those cool animations. So right here I'm going to create that input range. So in this case this input range is going to be an array index -1 times, and then I again need to get the dimension so I can get the width of the device. So in this case there's the width, I'd structure it dimensions.get the screen, and then I need to just copy that and paste it right here. Then there's going to be index times width, which is for the current slide, and then index +1 times width, and this is going to be for the next slide. All right, so Don't worry if you haven't understood it yet. I'll be explaining all of these in great details. And then there is going to be this output range right here instead of there's going to be the colon. And finally extrapolate this to be clump like so. And then we need to pass in this dot width right here. So first of all, I need to actually wrap this within an array like so, and then there's going to be the width, which is dot width. Save it, and now you can already see the difference, and that as I'm going to go to the next slide and the previous slide, this is animating smoothly. There we go. So what is happening right here is that we are interpolating some values between these input ranges. So whenever I'm going to the previous slide, in this case if I go to this slide, which is this previous slide, so it's gonna pick a value between 12 and 30. All right, so that is how interpolate is working. All right, so now let's also add that background color for this as well. So back into the slider right here, we need to calculate the current index. And in order to calculate the current index, I'm going to use this on viewable items change prop right here. So this is going to get called every time we're going to swipe and change the slide. All right, so here I'm going to call this handle on viewable items changed. And then right here at the very top, I'm going to create that handle on viewable items changed. And then here, again, I'm going to use ref right here. Then this is going to be a functions with viewable items. And then right here, this just console.log this viewable items. And now save it. And then finally right here, dot current. All right, so we are not seeing any changes so far. Let's go to here. As you can see, as I'm changing these slides, you can also notice that in here we are getting this array with this object here wherein we have this index of 2. So we need to get that index. So for that to do, I need to import this use state from the React, and then down below right here, let's get the index and set it to be it is use state. I'm gonna use this snippet, set the index, and it's gonna be 0. All right, and then right here, I'm gonna say set index viewable items of 0, which is the first one, and then this is dot index. All right, and then now I'm gonna just comment that out. Okay, and there is one more step that I have to do, is to pass some configuration for this viewable item. So that will be viewability config, and then here I'm gonna add that viewability config as well. There we go, and then let's just copy this, and then right here I'm gonna create that const of viewability config and set this to use ref again dot current, and then right here I'm gonna say that item visible %threshold. I hope I'm not making any mistake. Okay, so what is this item %threshold? So this is going to be the percentage of this slide which is visible. So this is calculating how many percent this slide should be visible for it to be considered viewable. Again, I'm repeating, how many percent the next slide should be visible for it to be considered viewable. That is what this viewability config is doing. So it's just some basic configuration for this viewable items change right here. All right, and now that we have calculated the index, then I'm gonna pass it within the pagination right here. Set this to be index, save it, and then I'm gonna go to the pagination, and then again let's also destructure that. In this case, there is the index, and then down below right here, I'm gonna add this dot and say that if the current index is equal to the index, then we are gonna add this styles dot active. Okay, and then down below right here, we're gonna add the styles for this dot active. In this case, it's gonna have a background color of this black color. There we go. So now you can see that we just completely made it all the way to the end, but this is still looking weird. So this was a way how you can calculate the index of this flat list. And then the next step is that what you can do is to add opacity for this. So I'm gonna just copy and then duplicate it down below right here, and then use opacity. And then just copy this opacity from there and then pass it right here. All right, so now as you can see, I'm changing this slide, but still we are not seeing the desired dot animation. So I covered this part as a bonus for you to know how to calculate the index of this slider. All right, and the way that I like to actually animate this is that I'm gonna get rid of this from here, and in addition to that, this one as well, and replace it with background color. All right, and then I'm gonna just add it right there, and this is gonna be this C right here, and then this is gonna be 000, and again this CCC. Okay, this gray color and the black will set exactly one of item visible person threshold. Okay, now let's go back here. Yeah, this is actually a typo. This is person threshold. Now save it. Item visible must set exactly one of these. Item visible percent threshold. All right, and save it. Let's actually reload this. There we go. So now this is working perfectly fine, and it smoothly animates between these slides. All right, so that was it for the pagination of the slider, and now we need to animate the image. So back in here, I'm gonna go to the slide item right here, and again I'm gonna import the animated from React Native, and then down below right here, let's create an animated variable here. In this case, I'm gonna call this as translate y image, just equal to new animated dot value, and let's set this to be 40. All right, and then down below right here, I'm gonna say that animated dot timing, and let's get that translate y image, and then to value of 0 with a duration of 1000 milliseconds. And what else was here? I need to specify delay. No, I'm not going to delay anything. Use native driver and set this to be true, and also add this easing. Let's get this easing from React Native and dot bounce. There we go. And now that we have created this translate y image animated value, we need to map this to the image. So I'm gonna add this animated right here, and then for this style, I'm gonna just wrap this within this array, and then here I'm gonna say transform. Here, let's just do translate y here, and set this to translate y image. So let's see if this is gonna work. Okay, so this is not working. This is translate y image, and yeah, we just need to add this start as well in here. There we go. All right, so now you can see that we achieved everything, including animating the image and also these dots right here, and make it a completely full screen React Native slider. Alright, so that was it for this video, everyone. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to my channel, and turn on the bell notification for more such videos like this, and I will see you guys in the next one. Thank you for watching the video.